Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Saushtvi and today we're doing a very exciting video because my comfort show came back with the new season. Season 4 of Outer Banks is finally here. Well, part 1 of it is finally here and I am ecstatic about it. Like, you guys have no idea how obsessed I am with the show. Genuinely, when I say comfort show, I mean it. Especially this year, I've been like relying on the books I read and the shows I watch a lot for mental health reasons, and OBX is high key one of them. It's like right up there. And the show is not without its faults. I'm aware of that. So before you come at me about how the show isn't even peak cinema, I'm very much aware of that. But it still has so many redeeming qualities, and I just love so many aspects about the show that I am fully obsessed with it. And season 4 part 1 came out a few days ago. I binged it all in one day, and oh my god, it was actually so good. Like, genuinely, it was better than season 3, which I think is everyone's opinion so far that I've seen. I saw a tweet the other day that said OBX 4 feels like the big sister of OBX 1. High key agree. Highly agree. But before I get further into this, if you all don't know what Outer Banks is about, it's basically a teen drama treasure hunting show at an island. It's about a group of teenagers who live in Outer Banks, and they're kind of in the lowest ranks economically, and it's about summer and beach life and them living their best beach life, and most of them are kind of broke. And then they come across a clue leading to a big treasure, and they decide to start treasure hunting for themselves. And that's the basic gist of it, but there's a lot more. It's a proper teen drama. There's a lot of action, there's a lot of drama, there's a lot of romance, a lot of family dynamics, a lot of emotional found family elements. Like, genuinely, if you like found family, my god, this show does it like no other. Truly best found family vibes I've seen in a show in years. Such great friendship, such great romance, such great, like, truly summer beach life, island life kind of vibes. Very funny as well. Very good show. If you like all of that, if you like the sound of what I'm saying, you should definitely check out Outer Banks. Moving on to season 4, part 1. So, as you can tell, I clearly loved the show. There were a few things that don't exactly line up, but then again, this is Outer Banks, so obviously there will be a few things that don't line up. But besides that, I'm quite happy with how the season has turned out so far. I know in the interviews, a lot of them were saying that they're going back to their roots in this season, and I can see that. I think they really took in the reviews of the audience from the last season, because the season kind of was not it. And they really improved upon that, which I'm really happy to see, because wow, this season felt so good. Starting season 1 with them building Portlandia 2.0, I love it. Honestly, like, I feel like I'm so impressed by the place that they've built, because that's me. Honestly, like, if I were to, like, I've always dreamt of having a beach house, and if I were to have a beach house and a business, small business like that, I could definitely live that life, honestly. Like, genuinely, one of the reasons why I connect to OBX so much is because I feel like in another life that really could be me. It should be me, and somehow I landed up here in Mumbai. So I loved how we started off. The main thing everyone's talking about, JJ's fucking around. Oh my god. I feel like I knew going into the season I would have to defend him with my soul, because I love JJ. I love Rudy Pankow and I love JJ, like JJ as a character. Absolutely in love with him. He's everything I love in a character and more. He loses a lot of money on the house, then in the race. And all of it definitely can't be justified, I agree. But a lot of it can be explained though. Like, I mean, if you really put into perspective, I think Rudy Pankow said in an interview that JJ is like a kid who's never had candy his whole life, and then suddenly he's given Red Bull. And that's, I think, the perfect analogy for JJ. Like, this boy who's had no sense of home, who's had no money all his life and no sense of home and no sense of direction, is suddenly given this $1 million in hand. He definitely has no idea how to truly use it well and when to stop. And especially JJ being the ADHD chicken that he is, he definitely does not think things through. And I'm not trying to put down people with ADHD by saying that I have ADHD, but I'm just saying recklessness and impulsiveness comes with the package. And especially, like, we see that he needed that house, he needed to rebuild that house into something else. That house is represented the terrible side of his life, and he needs it. He needs to rebrand this house into something else, into the thing that he loves most in his life, which is his friends. But yeah, episode 1, I think, all around immaculate vibes. Episode 2 was the Jiara episode. Like, don't even get me started. I ship Jiara so hard. I swear to God, it's not even funny. I think the last time a ship in a show made me feel this way was Lydia. Like Styles and Lydia back in the Teen Wolf days. That's how long it's been since I felt like this about a ship. Genuinely, they are my everything. So happy to see their progress from everything with like the little playful banter to them doing the dive to the hospital scene. I can't. It's so good. It's so good. Even Cleo Pope, for that matter, Cleo and Pope have been giving such good moments in the show. I'm really impressed by the direction that they've taken, that the actors have taken for their characters. Speaking of Cleo, I'm really excited to see her arc in part 2 because she's clearly vengeful, and I'm excited to see how that goes because Cleo, I love Cleo. So far we've seen only one side of her character. Even though I love her as much, we've seen only one dynamic to her. She's a strong, fierce girl, and she's always the one picking everyone else up, and now she's hit the lowest of lows for her personally, and she's out for revenge, and she's not going to be thinking clearly, and she's vulnerable. And seeing that side of Cleo is so interesting. Like when Terence died, it was heartbreaking for me to see Cleo's reaction. Like genuinely, Carlacia Grant, fantastic job. My heart was breaking for her. Episode 2 is a banger. I replay it all the time. Episode 3 also was so great. The Giara date moment, which I know a lot of people are saying that like how come he's never taken her on a date, and like other things about the beach scene and in the fourth episode where he's like not touching her and hugging her and stuff like that. But again, like I don't think people understand what JJ and Kiara have been through, like how they are as as people, and also JJ just the kind of life he's had and what kind of impact that has on a person when they get into a relationship. Like first of all, they've been best friends for years and now they got into a relationship, and I am someone who was best friend with someone for years and then got into a relationship with them. I know how much that friendship dynamic overpowers the relationship. I'm very much aware of that. And that's exactly what's happening with them as well. And I think they're handling it beautifully. Like JJ, there's so much trauma in his past. And the way the vibe of OBX is that, you know, it's easy to take things very lightly sometimes. So it's easy to sometimes forget just how traumatic his life has been. And that's gonna have a huge impact on the way he expresses his love for Kiara. But that doesn't mean that he doesn't love her. And especially that beach scene, like Kiara has always had like boundaries with her physical affection, which I honestly relate to because I can't stand people touching me or hugging me or anything at all. Like I'm very particular. I don't like people around me or touching me, especially when I'm feeling overwhelmed, unless I specifically ask the person to do it. I think sometimes people expect something different because they've been seeing Sarah and John B. The Jarah relationship is obviously a lot more physical and a lot more lovey-dovey and a lot more like sweet and cute because they did not have a best friend kind of dynamic before they met. And that's also just their kind of personalities and how they mix. Not every relationship looks like that. And I think JJ understands that and is very respectful of that. And I think they've played out the dynamic of the characters how it should be perfectly. I think it's taking the right kind of pace. And I'm glad the show isn't making the other two relationships also look exactly the way this relationship looks because they're all individual and you can see the individuality of each relationship in the show, which I'm very happy with. I think the moment Kiara steps out of the Twinkie and she says that, don't you think everything's better at the beach? And girl, she's so me. It's not even funny. I could spend the rest of my life at the beach. Every time I go to the beach, I instantly feel 10 times better. And the beach has always been my safe haven. So, like, I don't know. I just knew. As soon as she said that, I was like, this episode is gonna kill it. Another thing I want to mention while we're at the topic of Giara at the beach, I feel like JJ giving us a touch her and you die scene while wearing a shirt that says spooky. Peak writing. I think that in a nutshell explains JJ and explains OBX as a whole. Like, touch her and you die in a pookie shirt. Loved that episode, the moment with the turtle hatch. Tell me why. There's been so many deaths on the show, and this one was the one that made me the most emotional. Like, genuinely, the turtle hatch scene, I was not okay. I was so mad. Ruthie, why is she here? I do not understand the addition of this character. Was it necessary? Absolutely not. I mean, I guess a little bit because it's getting some Pokes versus Scoops drama. But for the most part, I don't think she needs to be here. I think we're fine. I don't think I've ever been this mad at like a character. Like I hate Ward and I hate Big John. Everyone does. But I hate them because they're bad characters. But with Ruthie, she's a bad character, but at the same time, I'm also annoyed with him, and that makes things worse. Okay, quick change of location because I got kicked out of my living room. But anyway, episode 5, like we were saying, I think most of us knew that we would find out about JJ's mom in this season, which I'm really glad about. But I was not expecting Luke to not be his father at all. That's an insane plot twist. I cannot imagine the spiral he's gonna get into, knowing that Luke's not his dad anymore because he had such a complicated relationship with him, so much domestic violence that he's had to sit through because of Luke, so much emotional violence. Then to find out that he's not even your father, but you've still had love for him in your heart, right? You grow up believing that's your parent, and no matter what they do, sometimes you're just not able to push it down. That we've seen JJ struggling with that throughout the past seasons, and to now find out that he's not even his dad and that his mom is someone who died years ago because of a generational curse. I don't know how much they're going to play into this. Are they like serious about this curse and the ghost thing, or is it someone playing them for a fool? Because the show's never been supernatural before, so I don't know. Then to find out that Chandler Groff is your dad, and I'm pretty sure that Chandler is not gonna be the greatest guy, right? Like he's giving the vibes that he's not gonna be on their side, he's not gonna be a good guy. And I just think that if he truly turns out to be not a nice guy, and then JJ has to, it's gonna be so terrible for him to find out that Luke, his abusive dad, is not really his dad, and the dad that he does have isn't that great either. Like there's just else all around for him. Like who is writing this shit? I know who's writing this shit. What do you have against my boy? Like this is just pure devastation. I truly, and I've seen from the interviews that Rudy Pankow is talking about how he's gonna spiral and it's gonna send things in a crazy direction for season 4 part 2. Terrified but also excited. But at the same time, Rudy Pankow was talking about how this might also be a way for him to have some hope about like he gets to decide who he is from now on, and maybe start with a cleaner slate for himself, and that could be a good thing. So hopefully we will see some light at the end of the tunnel for him by the end of the show. Which brings me to the JJ theories. I know everyone's been going crazy about the fact that there are rumors that Rudy might leave the show and so they'll kill JJ off at the end of season 4, which honestly is ridiculous to me. I cannot fathom it. I truly can't deal with that. Like I said, it's my comfort show, and I genuinely like, especially at this time right now, this week, some terrible shit went down. So I am heavily mentally leaning on this show. I don't think I can handle it because JJ is my favorite, and seeing him die and leave the show, what? There's a part of me that doesn't believe it'll happen because given how the show is progressing and the storyline they've chosen, I don't think that you could like kill off a character when something like this has happened. Like this is a big storyline, and I would think that the writers, the directors, they would want to juice it out as much as possible, and they wouldn't want to end this character at the end of the season. And B, JJ is a fan favorite. Like everyone loves JJ, everyone loves Jiara, and to lose him would definitely have an impact on the show. Like honestly, once again, it feels like Styles from Teen Wolf. He's not the main character, but he became the immediate fan favorite, and if you let him go, show's gonna tank for sure. Like I for one, I am very confident that if it turns out to be true and Rudy leaves the show, I will not be watching ahead. So I'm not sure about that. And there is this one particular interview where Rudy Panko talks about how you know, someone asked him about the future of the show, and he said that if the writers have good stories to tell and if they have a way of telling them, then it might go on for some more time. And he's confident that the writers do have some things to say. So it was a very vague answer, which indicated that, yeah, like from all their answers and from his answer, I think it's pretty fair to say that this is not the last season of the show for sure. There will at least be a season 5. However, his answer was just vague enough to keep us questioning whether that means that he will stay in the show or not, which is just irritating. Also, another JJ theory I have is that there's also some people I heard on Twitter talking about how like he will die but he will get revived because of the blue crown that they'll find, and it'll break his curse, or Kiara will break his curse. Not getting into any of that. Up to you what you want to talk about that. But a theory I do have is that JJ might kill someone or come close to it, because I feel like they're hinting at it a lot in this season, especially that one scene with the guy who works on Goat Island who digs the ditches. He came to see JJ and JJ was like, "Oh my god, you almost made me a killer," and he was like, not yet." Why was that dialogue so distinctly placed there? For some reason, I feel like it's foreshadowing something, and I don't know. My God, I really don't know what to think of anything at this point. But yeah, JJ, my God, what an arc he's been having. As soon as I saw that blonde lady, though, like the portrait of her, and they started talking about how like she drowned with her baby, I was like, so that's JJ's mom, right? That's JJ's mom. Also, I just want to point out there's a scene where Groff is like fake crying in front of Shoop. And honestly, looking back, like watching the season again, you can see how much some of his mannerisms resemble JJ's, like when JJ was fake crying in season one. Like, I feel like you can see connections now in terms of their behaviors. I don't know if that's been done on purpose, but yeah, I can see some parallels between both of them. Also, another thing, can we just quickly talk about how traumatic it is for the Pokes to have to hide a body in their house and then dispose of it? Like, they've done some insane things in the show, but nothing of this level. To have to hide a dead body, for Cleo to have to witness her father figure's death in front of her, and then for all of them to have to hide the body behind their couch and then dispose of it. That is some dramatic shit. It was pulled off lightly again in the show, but that kind of shit stays with you. It has an impact, and I can't imagine where the Pokes will be after having done this. Like, that's some insane shit. But I love how OBX couples moments like that with a lot of lighter moments. Like, I remember that first episode where John B types in the password for his bank account and then 0000. I can't. Sometimes I honestly think there is a single brain cell between John B and JJ, and sometimes neither of them have it. Also, they really stepped it up with wardrobe this time. Like Kiara's outfits, especially in that entire segment where they're building Poglandia. Incredible outfits, can I say? They were on point. Also, that little scene where, in episode 1 where Pope is reading a maths textbook like a storybook. I just random moments sprinkled in throughout the show that make the show feel so wholesome and genuine and connected. Gotta love it all. Coming to my OBX theories, I already explained my theories about JJ, so let's keep that aside. But other theories, I think that Larissa and Luke might have had an affair, and then Luke either knew that she was gonna die, because I feel like it wasn't a curse and someone was out to get them, maybe Chandler, or maybe that lady and her crew. No clue what her name is. I don't. Did we get her name in the series? I don't think so. Can't remember. Guy that she's with, Lightner is his name, right? Him, that crew. Maybe it's them. Maybe it's Chandler and Hollis. I don't know, but I feel like it was definitely a ruse to kill her off and to kill Wes. Don't know why, and why like 20 years apart. No clue. But yeah, I feel like maybe they had an affair and Larissa knew they were gonna get killed, or that so she gave JJ to Luke, or like maybe he was there when they were dying and that's how he like rescued JJ. Still doesn't explain how in the newspaper it says that she died with her baby boy Jackson, which the fact that JJ's name is Jackson, I can see it. I know some people don't like it, but yeah, his real name being Jackson, I think I can get with that. But back to the theory, yeah, I think that's how he maybe got JJ, because like if he knew Larissa and he had her baby when she died, like why wouldn't he just go and give him back to Wes and to Chandler, right? Unless he knew that these aren't good people, or that he can't reveal himself to them because he was having an affair with her. I also think Groff may know who JJ is, because of that one line where he tells him that he believes in him. Why was that there? But it's also like, if you know who JJ is, why did you never reach out to him? And B, why did you turn the blame on the Pogues when Shoop was asking about like Wes's death? I'm trying to figure out his motivations. I think it's definitely related to the fact that he wants to inherit Court Island, something to do with that. But there's more to the story with him, Hollis, and like the entire Rafe thing and the Goat Island thing. I just can't put my finger on it yet. The Sarah pregnancy. Okay, let's get into this. So way back when they were shooting OBX4, people were going on about rumors about how maybe she'll get pregnant. And I was like, that's batshit crazy. No, because I personally am not a fan of the pregnancy trope. So I was like, I cannot get with this shit. However, once the show dropped, there are just so many clues pointing to her pregnancy. I feel like I don't know if it's the bias of having heard all those rumors in the back of my mind, or if they're legitimately pointing to her being pregnant, because all that talk about having a family and the indications of them having a lot of sex, and then that little moment in episode 5 when they're in the church and her eyes randomly drift to a portrait of a lady who's pregnant, and they like stay there for a second. Why would you add that if she wasn't pregnant? There's literally no reason. And then obviously from the images we've seen of like the teaser of part 2 where she seems tired and stuff like that. I've seen a lot of behind the scenes footage as well where there's a lot of indication of her being tired and like people are taking care of her a lot more. I don't know, man. I feel like she might be pregnant. I don't know how to feel about that because I feel like I would have fun watching the storyline of finding out like she's pregnant and like the chaos of the treasure hunting along with that. It would be super dramatic. It would be fun to watch. However, like I can't see them being parents. Like OBX is just not that kind of a show. It is a teen drama, but just not in that way at all. So I can't see it happening. I can't like these pogs, the way they live their life. It's not the kind of environment to have a baby now, is it? That kind of responsibility and stuff. I don't see how it can play out. And in the last few days I've been seeing on Twitter, people have also started commenting about this, and I think a lot of people are also thinking that it might be true, she might be pregnant. So it's not just me. I know lots of people are thinking of it and I'm freaking out about it. Also, like a lot of interviews, there was an interview where someone asked them who has the most character development in the show, and everyone was like JJ, and then Rudy was like, yeah, JJ, but also Sarah, and they couldn't get into why. And then there was a question someone asked them where they said, Ki, who's the worst parent and who do you think would be the best parent out of the Pogues? So Rudy Pankow was like, worst parent Luke, and he's like, oh, I really can't say. And I wonder if he was about to say, and then best parent. I really can't say because we'll see that happening in the show. I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking this. Can you see how much I've been analyzing stuff? It's insane. But yeah, those are all the theories I have so far. I think I might have a few more that I've just missed along the way because I'm yapping so much. But those are all the theories. The questions that I have though, little things like Hayward. What is his dynamic with the Pogues now? Because we saw him in episode 1 once, they returned from South America, but we haven't seen him anymore with the Pogues at all, and he's actually chill with them, right? So what's going on over there? Kiara and her parents, because when they came back, they turned her away, which honestly, loser parents, loser move. They turned them away, and then later on, 18 months later, we see them like being felicitated for finding El Dorado, and her parents are right there in the front row, cheering and happy for her. So, did we miss something between that where like they became cool again, or like they turned her away that day, and after that, they like literally like never contacted her again? Like what's going on? I wonder if that line during the diving scene where she tells them that we can't lose the farm, I can't go crawling back to my parents, I wonder if that's foreshadowing in some way. I don't know, because we have a court scene eventually in part 2 where the land is being taken away from them, presumably, or maybe it's about JJ. I don't know. So I don't know what's gonna happen, but I would like some more information with like Kiara and her parents. I do think that's a storyline they've brushed aside a lot, and I don't know why, because it's a great storyline, and I think it gives more to Kiara's character than just being JJ's girlfriend and a part of the books. So I hope they shed some more light on that dynamic in part 2, but we'll see. Same thing with Sarah and VZ. What's up with that? Like you're telling me 18 months they've been on the same island and VZ didn't try to once go and meet her, or Sarah didn't try to once go and meet her. Like they've broken rules and gone to meet each other before. Just saying. There's another random dead guy we find on the beach that the girl with the kids finds in the show. Who is he? What happened to him? He had like a mark on his hand of the trident in a triangle. What's up with that? How did Lightner and their team know the location of the amulet? Because only Wes and Chandler had the location of it because they had Blackbeard's diary. So how did they know the location of the amulet? And furthering that scene, like they injured Lightner during the dive, and they both got back on their JJ and Key and Lightnor got back on their individual boats at the same time, and JJ and Key were immediately taken to the hospital. And then we see Lightnor coming to the hospital to get stitched up like 12 hours later, because he comes to the hospital when they're almost done in the hyperbaric chamber. So where was he for 12 hours? He was just bleeding out. Like OBX always has things like that that don't line up, like timeline wise. As soon as they get the amulet, the lady is like, okay, let's go to Charleston. And they arrive to Charleston way after the Pogues, which, where were you until this time? There's definitely a lot of things like that don't line up, but they're minor things. I can disregard them. But yeah, I think those are all the questions I have for OBX, all the theories I have, and all the thoughts I have. I'm editing the video right now and I realized I forgot to talk about how I feel about Sarah and John B's relationship. I'm loving it this season. Honestly, I loved them in season 1. They were like peak romance. But in season 2 and season 3, they really fucked up the storylines, especially with the cheating trope. And I'm not a fan of cheating storylines. I just couldn't get past that, and the entire dynamic had honestly fallen off a lot, but they really brought it back in season 4. Like, I honestly wasn't expecting to care so much about their relationship as much as I do now. Very well done. I'm loving their chemistry, loving the romance, loving the conversations and their banter. So happy with the turnaround of their relationship. Overall, those are my thoughts, those are my point of views. Let me know if you share in some of them. Let me know if you agree with some of them, or if you have your own theories to share. Let's talk theories, honestly, because I would love to discuss some more theories. That's all I have to say, though. Thank you so much for watching. Follow me on Instagram, linked below. Like, share, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys in the next one.